Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So for this week I am going to actually show you how I draw eyes. So starting off, I like to kind of show where the center line is on my drawing. So I'm going to draw a center line and then measure out one eye distance from the middle. So you center one eye on the middle line, and then I'm blocking that off now, and then you take that space and you duplicate it on both sides. The reason why I do that is because if you look at a human face, typically there is one eye width between your two eyes. So you could fit three eyes across, which would be a little weird, but so here I'm measuring out the other sides. I'm not worrying about these lines being super straight. Oftentimes when I'm actually drawing it on the face, I don't even do them super straight because slight differences actually is a little bit more organic and can actually look more realistic. Now I'm drawing the center line, and the center line is actually where I'll also put the eyes. For this one, I'm actually setting the eyelid right on that line. See if you look right there. But sometimes when I'm working on the actual face, it will actually be a little bit centered on that. While drawing manga eyes, I like to make it really thin in the center and really thick at the ends. It really kind of gives the impression of really nice big eyelashes. So in order to do that, I'll oftentimes draw a single line, and then I'll go back in and thicken that line several times further out to kind of give it that gradual effect and give the impression of eyelashes. And then I'll draw a couple of large eyelashes coming off the corners, which really help with that manga look and those really big, beautiful eyelashes. I then go through and draw the lower lid. And now I'm marking off where the next eye will go. So I mark off where the inner corner of your lid is going to fall, and I will go through with that. There really is no secret I can tell you. I'll put dots and lines to kind of give a basic impression of the shape and where the shape will fall. But in the end, it's all going to be kind of just eyeballing it. You'll have certain parts of one eye that you like better than the other. And you just have to kind of go with that and balance them out. I'm going back through now and kind of refining some of it. I liked how thick it was on the inside on the right eye. And now I'm adding the iris itself. Remember that on your drawings, you will oftentimes have the iris partially shaded by the eye, so it will be, most of the iris will be hidden behind the lid. So remember that when you're drawing it. Also, the nice thing about manga eyes is that you don't have to worry about any particular shape of the iris. Oftentimes it can be a little bit more oblong instead of just circular, which I really like. Now I'm adding eyebrows. Even though this is a tutorial on how to draw eyes, I really think that eyebrows help with the shape. Now I'm going on to inking, but while I'm inking, I'll point out that you can kind of see the eyelid crease above where her eye is, so just a little bit over it. You'll be able to see it a little bit better after I'm done inking and before I start to draw. But that will really help give depth and dimension to your eye. Now if you look at the left eye, you'll also see that I kind of didn't fill it in. I outlined the eye. This is because I'm still not entirely sure of some of the shapes, and I still like to kind of tweak the shape of the eye at this stage. So I'll kind of outline it and then go through and fill it in later to make it more even and really, I think, provide more texture. Very lightly I go in and fill in the eyebrows. I didn't do very much in the way of shading using my pen in this one because I really wanted glassy looking eyes. So I'm going in with my lightest blue. This is ice blue. If you look in the description box, you will find the list of all the markers I've used for this. Then I decided to put a little bit of a reflection line in there. So this is kind of just me outlining where everything is going to go in the eye. Now here is my slightly darker blue. I really love this color blue. It's very kind of sea-like and it has a little bit of green textures to it. So to do this, I'm filling in everything but the absolute highlight of the eye, which I used in ice blue with this color blue. And the very, very bottom, putting a little bit of darkness around there will really kind of help provide that kind of glassy look. Now I'm providing streaks with a violet color, and the violet color kind of helps to provide a different color, different texture to the eyes, which I really liked in this. Going back in and blending it all together. Now I'm going in with Prussian blue. The Prussian blue I kind of kept in the iris, in the pupil, and in the absolute shade of the iris. And then I was very careful to go along the reflection line that I drew, and you'll be able to see that a little bit better in a second. But that will really help provide an eye that looks a little less dark and a lot more three-dimensional. Be sure to focus on the shadow line, so where your eyelid forms a shadow on your eye, that's where your darkest colors are going to go. And then make sure that it really blends out into the very light colors, and that will give you those really beautiful traditional manga eyes. Once again, when you're working with so many colors, be sure that you blend really well. It will provide a more even texture and a more realistic look. Working on the other eye now, just trying to bring them both into somewhat of a similar state before I kind of go through and do some of the final details on the eyes themselves. Now going back in with black, I'm adding a little extra texture along the pupil. And here is my black marker to provide deep shading along the pupil line. Don't forget when you're drawing eyes to actually shade a little bit along the whites of the eyes as well, because the same shadow that you have on the iris, you're going to have along the whites of the eyes as well, and it provides more depth and honestly more realism when you provide that shading, and it really makes it stand out and pop. So to do that, I used Cool Gray 3 and Cool Gray 1 and blended them together out into the white. Already, I think you can see kind of a texture. Now I'm going through and kind of shading the rest of the eye, mostly because I didn't think it looked very finished and polished, and I kind of wanted it to look more like a very close zoom in of a face than anything else. So to do that, remember those creases I told you about earlier? You're going to make sure that you put the darkest color in those and just the very edges of those to provide that lovely look of shadows, and then you blend those out using lighter and lighter colors so that you provide a highlight on the brow bone. And now I'm putting in final details with my white gel pen marker. This one took a little bit more time putting in the details, mostly because I really wanted to be sure that this looked professional and finished. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye!